Yeah, I'm just happy to be able to enjoy a good fight. The bigger, stronger guy coming after he might have the edge too. I'm not gonna pick a winner because they're both gentlemen and very nice people.
What's good, everybody? What's good? It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or E.S. Red, if that's what you won't call me, and we are back for another one. Alright, y'all, we got them new topics. How Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. 2-fight deal will top MayPac. Alright, y'all, so this fight is official, not signed yet, but it is official. They have a fight date, they have a venue, they've agreed to all terms. Now we're just waiting for the two fighters to sign off on the contracts. In the meantime, let's do some fight breakdown about Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr., how this fight would impact the welterweight division, how this fight would impact both fighters' careers from here on out, and how it compares to the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. Alright, so how does this fight compare to the Mayweather-Pacquiao super fight, the fight that changed boxing, and how this fight may top that fight because of the 2-fight deal?
I think everything in life is about timing. Of course, we're going to say Pacquiao was hurt, which he could have been hurt.
All boxing fans were interested in Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Those were the two top fighters of their day. Those were the best two welterweights of that day. They had pretty much beaten everybody.
I'm going up in weight, but I ain't just walking through no damn fighters. 106, now he decided to just walking through Cotto.
Manny Pacquiao had the majority of the wins, I think, when it comes to big fights at welterweight during that time, because Mayweather was more of a selective fighter. He picked and chose who he wanted to fight.
I didn't say how I was going to win. I said I will win.
But when they got together in the ring, it was the biggest fight in boxing history. What hurt that fight was that there was no rematch. And that, I think, was done purposely on behalf of Mayweather.
They basically stressing a rematch.
And his 50-0, you know, wanting to break that boxing record of 50-0, 51-0, 52-0. So I think he decided that, you know, if I get this fight, I beat him once, I don't ever have to do it again. You know, I don't ever have to get back in the boxing ring with this guy and potentially put my 50 wins on the line. Even though when they fought, he wasn't at 50 yet. But I think he knew he was going to get there if he was to get that victory. How does Mayweather, Pacquiao, and Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford compare to one another? Well, I think those two fights are very similar. You know, they've been anticipated for a long time. Both fighters, unlike MayPac, are in the prime of their career. You know, if MayPac would have happened 5 years before it happened, you know, I could say that they both were in the best times of their career. But unfortunately for us fans, they didn't. So we got the fight when we did, but I think this fight, perfect timing. Both guys are in the prime. Both guys are champions. And not only that, but Undisputed is on the line, something that wasn't on the line during MayPac. Not only that, you know, the fact that these two guys have actually asked, both parties seem to want a rematch clause. You know, I think Mayweather-Pacquiao wanted a rematch clause and Mayweather didn't want a rematch clause. And a lot of that, once again, is based off the fact that Mayweather kind of sets things up to where he knows he's not going to lose. So what do you need a rematch clause for if you know you're not going to lose?
No, Floyd is scared. No, Floyd cares about his family. Floyd is smart.
And in this fight, I think it's different, and it has the opportunity to be the biggest fight in boxing history off those two fights. Now, I don't think that the first fight is going to be as big as MayPac was. I don't think the second fight is going to be as big as far as the pay-per-view sales, but when you combine both of those fights together, I think you're going to get a huger event than what we got from MayPac because there was no rematch clause. The rematch clause is what's going to carry this fight past the MayPac fight, and probably is going to end up doing bigger numbers as a 2-fight deal than the original MayPac fight did. It's crazy because we still have a chance to perhaps get a rematch of the MayPac. Both of those guys are still young enough to where they could get in the ring together and give a decent showing of it. It wouldn't be what fans would have gotten 10 or 15 years ago, but if they wanted to come back out and try to top what they did the first time, I'm pretty sure that they could. But since we are in a new day, a new time in boxing, it's 2022 compared to when they fought. I believe it was like 2014 or 2015, somewhere around that time. A lot has changed in the sport of boxing. You know, the landscape is much different, but what remains the same is that it's taken a long time for fans to get what they wanted out of fighters. You know, the best fighting the best two guys in the sport facing up with one another. Now, I know there's going to be an argument who is the best fighter in the sport. People say that it's Canelo. People say that it's Vasily Lomachenko. People say that Terence Crawford is pound for pound #1. Some people say Errol Spence is pound for pound. I don't think that really matters at this point. I think what matters is that you have the fan favorites going up against one another, and at perfect timing and with a lot on the line. And I think that's what's really going to carry this fight. There is so much on the line in this fight. There's not only someone's old has got to go, but there's the undisputed titles that will be unified. All the titles will be unified. Not only that there's a rematch clause in there. So there is a lot to break down when it comes to this fight. There's a lot to be lost for the loser. And not to mention that in the second fight, the winner gets the majority of the purse. Now, I find that very interesting that they decided to go with that type of deal, because that lets me know that perhaps the first fight is going to be somewhere, if not a 50-50 draw, it's going to be close to a 50, maybe 60-40, 55-45, somewhere around that type of split. And which wouldn't be bad, you know, if that's what it takes to make the fight. Putting it in Vegas is what it takes to make the fight and get a definitive, undisputed welterweight champion, which hasn't happened in years and years and years. Then that's what it takes. That's what it, you know, boxing fans want this. Boxing fans need this. And I think it's going to carry boxing into the next generation and have both of these guys looked at as some of the best fighters in history. Now, I think the winner is going to be placed upon the Mount Rushmore of boxing. I think the loser is going to kind of get flushed aside. Now, he's going to make a lot of money either way. I think both of these guys stand to make a lot of money either way it goes. But I do think that the loser of this fight will eventually get pushed to the side, and the winner will probably move up to 154. Now, it doesn't mean that the loser can't stick around and try to clean up the 147 division after the winner is gone, because I do think whoever wins this fight is moving on to 154. But I do feel like the loser has a lot to lose in this fight, and the winner is really going to be elevated into the upper echelon of boxing.
Terence Crawford just figures people out.
Let me know what y'all think about that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Share, subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, but you're more than likely to get a response on the tube, so holla at me over there if you want a response. It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, E.S. Red, if that's what you want to call me, and we are out of here.